Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I am Rob and this is Allie and we are with MGM Modeling, and today we're going to go over the 15 types of modeling.
Alright, so first off, the most popular one that most people think of is fashion or editorial modeling. So what are some of the requirements for this one?
So for fashion editorial for women, it's mostly just a height requirement, and that is 5'9", and for men, generally 5'11".
Okay, and that's on the low end.
That's on the low end, yes. That's the minimum height requirement. So they also need to be very skilled in posing, in runway usually, and just pulling off looks that designers would like to have seen.
Okay, yes.
And going along with that is runway modeling, which is a close. Some of the people that do fashion also do runway because the requirements are the same.
They are.
So it's also that 5'9" minimum requirement for women and 5'11" for men. Now the difference between this is you do need to be very skilled at your runway walk. So and it's a specific type of
and turns.
Specific type of walk, which is different than like a pageant walk or something like that.
Or a swimsuit. Yes, very different.
So make sure you're very skilled in that.
All right, so next up we'll talk about swimsuit and lingerie models. What are some of the requirements there?
Well, there isn't as much of a height requirement for swimsuit lingerie unless you are going to be in a fashion show, like a Victoria's Secret show or something like that. But if you're doing print work, for a lot of people, you can be more in the 5'4" to 5'6" range, and that's going to be fine. You just need to be fit, and you need to be in shape and have a healthy look about you, because you're going to be showing off more of your body. You're going to need to have even skin, good hair, all that type of thing goes into that.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, basically it's a full look.
Looks play more a part into this. With the runway modeling, you don't necessarily have to have a certain look, because a lot of times in runway modeling, they want the eyes to be more on the clothes than on the model. But with the swimsuit modeling, they do want you to have a look that more people would consider attractive.
Absolutely.
So next up, we've got commercial and print modeling. Kind of the same thing. Some people break them apart, but for this purpose, we're going to say they're the same thing. And this is modeling for products, and they can be advertisements and in magazines, billboards, stuff like that. This is a lot of the stuff that we do at NGM is get our models published in this type of modeling.
Yes. And so the requirements are a lot different here because it can vary. Because there's really no particular height, no particular gender. It really is going to vary by project, right?
Yeah, this is the widest net for modeling. If you don't know what type of model you are, you could start with commercial print, because basically all types of people are needed for commercial print modeling. Whether you're short or tall, no matter your race, no matter your gender, we need those types of people for commercial print modeling. The thing you need to be able to do is pose. And the other thing you need to be able to do is smile. So you don't need to do that so much for swimsuit, runway, or fashion, but for commercial print, you have to have a beautiful smile, and you need to be able to pull off that smile consistently over and over and over. So if you are 5'1" and you want to get into modeling, work on your smile. That's going to be your quickest way in the door, because if you have a great smile, you're going to get hired for commercial print jobs. Next one, let's talk about fitness modeling. What do you got for that?
So in fitness modeling, it's all about what you look like. So you have to look like someone who is fit. So for that one, the requirements are you have to be in shape. So that's the big concentration there, because the companies are going to want to show off their products, from the athletic wear to the shoes, and they're going to put you in situations that look athletic, and they're going to want you to look athletic in those situations. So if this is what you're pursuing, then you're going to want to be able to, look that part. So hit the gym and have a little bit of definition in your arms and your legs, maybe even a little bit in your abs, and just have a nice even skin tone.
Yeah, the other thing about fitness modeling is you're gonna want to be able to pull off athletic moves, and by that I mean
It's true.
there are some people that just look funny when they run or when they jump, or so you want to have someone watch you do these things and say, does this look athletic? Does this look like the girl on the Nike commercial, or do I look, not like that? So you need to figure that out before you get to an audition, because if you're not running or jumping properly, you're not going to get picked for those types of parts.
Yeah.
Next up, we've got a fitting model. Let's tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So a fitting model is someone who. So you're going to want to be usually around 6 or 8 for your size. And what a fitting model does is basically you are like a live mannequin for a designer, and you'll do the final fittings before they send them off to the manufacturer. So it's actually a very important role. It's not as glamorous as some of the other types of modeling, but definitely a fitting model is an important thing, because just think your shape, your size is what's being used as the model essentially for what's being sent off to the manufacturers. So that's an important modeling job for sure.
Something that goes along with that is if you're a parts model, it's definitely not the most glamorous type of modeling, but these are good ways to get in the door, because when you show up as a parts model, you may catch the eye of somebody, and if you're on time, if you're doing a good job, and if you're reliable, sometimes that's enough to get you a gig as another job where they may just want to use you instead of having to do a model search or something else. So sometimes just getting your foot in the door through one of these other types of modeling is going to get you into the type of modeling that you want to do. So a parts model basically just models either your hair, your hands, your feet, or any other part that they need. And basically for that, all you need to have is even toned skin, and take good care of your nails, take good care of your hair. Your looks really don't matter that much, and your height does not matter at all. So this is another one that's open to anybody, and a really good opportunity to get your foot in the door if you have been struggling to get into modeling.
So think about this is used, jewelers use part models a lot for obvious reasons. If they want to show off a bracelet or a ring or a watch, that's all that's going to be in the advertisement. It's not going to always be your full face. Oftentimes all you see is someone's ankle for an anklet, or someone's foot for nail polish. So it's really important role, but again, like I said, not super glamorous, but definitely will get a foot in the door.
So next we have Promotional Model, which is you're at an event and you're trying to get people excited about whatever you've been hired to get them excited about. And a lot of times this will involve serving alcohol. So to be a promotional model, for the most part, you're going to need to be 21 in the US. And there is no height requirement for this.
Not generally.
Generally, they want you to be somewhat attractive. There is no age requirement, but generally they want you to be between 21 and 28 or so.
And a real strong personality, because you're going to be talking to a lot of people, all of which you don't know, and you're, like you said, you're trying to get people excited about a particular product that you're selling, and that you're encouraging them about. So you're going to want to be, very excited and very happy, and so you have to show them that you're able to do that. So that kind of is a part of the package of promotional modeling.
So tell us a little bit about the next one, which is Glamour Modeling.
So Glamour modeling is a little bit different than like fashion and commercial. Now, you're doing a lot of the same types of things, but the difference here is that it's a little bit more suggestive. Okay, and so the requirement, actually, there is an age requirement for glamour modeling, which is 18 or over, because of that suggestive posing that's involved in glamour modeling. So that's really the only difference between, fashion or commercial and glamour, is that they're adding that little bit of an edge to the look.
And generally, you're not smiling in glamour
Right.
modeling, so if you don't have a good smile or just can't figure that smile out, glamour is one that you can do. Mature modeling is next, and this is basically modeling for over 40.
Yes.
Sometimes it's over 50. Mature modeling can be it's usually used in commercial modeling and print modeling. That's usually where they're used. And it's a very important section of modeling. And if you are over 40 or are over 50 and you've wanted to get into modeling, you should really look into this because mature models are the hardest models to find.
They are.
They're the most scarce models, and so it's easiest for them to get hired over any other type of model.
Yeah, because a lot of times what happens, people over 40, over 50 are like, well, it's, a young person's game, and then that just takes more people out of the pool for mature modeling. And so it's important because if you think about looking at advertisement and things like that, there's always going to be a mature model in those pictures. So it's important to have mature models, and if it's something that you're interested in, don't just wave it off. You need to hop in and apply because these are definitely the hardest for us to find for sure, and I imagine others are struggling with finding them as well. So it's a big category.
On the opposite end of that spectrum, both in age and hardness to find, is child model. Child model is generally anyone that's a child, and they are pretty easy to find because a lot of children want to be models, or their parents want their children to be models. So it can be hard to break into the child model world, but there is no real height requirement. The only height requirement I would say is that you kind of need to be in line with the other children of your age.
Right. To look the same as the others.
Especially if it's commercial modeling. Now, if you're doing acting or something like that, they may want someone who's really tall or really short for a certain part, and that can be different. But for print modeling, if you're in line with what other children your age are, that's basically the only requirement. For this, you need to have a good smile, a good look, and really that's all you need to be is dependable and show up and do what they ask you to do.
Next up is petite models, and this is for anyone who's over 5'1" but under 5'7". So just really a lot of average height women fit into this this petite category.
Petite model is something that's kind of coming on lately as a new category that wasn't really used beforehand.
Right.
But more and more advertisers are realizing that they need to be using their ads to showcase their products for people that look like people in the ads. So petite modeling is coming on, and also the next one, plus size modeling. Tell us about that.
Now, plus size for Runway, they're looking for like a size 12 to 14, and ideal. No, actually, for Runway, you're looking at size 18 to 22, right? For print is that 12 to 14. Ideally, for the Runway would be a height of about 5'9". For a Runway for the plus size model, but anywhere in there really, it just depends on the designer. But this is one that has come on really strong lately in all the changes in the fashion industry. The plus size models are really making a move in, so it's definitely, you're not discounted if you fall in this range of 12 to 22, size 12 to 22. There's a lot there for you.
Next up, we have a freelance model, and so a freelance model is just someone that basically represents themselves. They're generally not full-time models. They're just trying to get side jobs here or there and break into the industry that way. They're not. It's not that they're not taking it seriously, but they're not just pursuing it full-time. And freelance model is a great way to go if that's what your life will allow right now. Maybe you have another job you're working or a family, and you just kind of want to do things from time to time. You're able to control what you do and when you do it. In order to do this, you have to have a really strong web presence, be that your Instagram or have your own website, and just promote yourself, because when you want to work, people need to know that you're out there and that you're going to want to get a job.
Right. And then the last one, and this is a very new category, but is definitely taking off, and that is an influencer model. Tell me a little bit more about that.
Influencers are really becoming very important, and it's important because they can reach into a segment of society that advertisers have a hard time reaching. So if you have a lot of followers, you have an influence on social media, you're able to get paid to help your friends, help people like you see a certain product or be exposed to things that they wouldn't otherwise be exposed to. So we do see a lot of talk about influencers and what you need to have. Generally, in order to make a living as an influencer, you're going to need upwards of 100,000, 500,000 followers to make a steady living at it. If you're in the 10,000 to 50,000 range, you will be able to get jobs and parts doing
some
it.
free things, products.
If you're under 10,000, you're probably going to struggle to. This is Instagram followers. If you're under that 10,000 range, you're probably going to struggle to get most businesses to pay you to do it. If you do, that's good. We do see, from time to time, people talking about micro influencers, and our experience is that really just isn't true. People aren't paying for 250 or 500 followers or 1,000 followers. That just does not move the needle at all. You need to have a substantial following and a substantial influence, and be willing to use it properly for it to move the needle for a major company. So it's a really good category, but you really need to work on your influence if you want to be falling into that, because there's a lot of competition of people that want to do that.
For sure. Yeah, definitely.
Well, I hope you've enjoyed this video, and if you did, give us a like, a comment, and be sure to subscribe to the channel. Leave us a comment about what type of modeling you are interested in doing, and we will see you on the next video.